yes, we would like to know if we have any consultants we're working with on Squadron 42 to get dialogue, military stuff correct.
I don't know, Dave. You want to answer that one?
Not yet. I mean, I think the plan is probably to bring some, maybe have people come on to consult just to make sure that the military does. I think actually, because he asked me this when I asked a dev. But yeah, I mean, I feel like there's, I don't know, to me there's always like there's a sweet spot of dramatically fun yet technically accurate that you have to hit, and that doesn't look too rigid, and so I feel like it'll be a process to figure out exactly where that sweet spot, so it feels like a legitimate military acting, and then but is not too cold and technical thing.
And we have a vast amount of our backers that are that not just US, but like all around the world, UK, Australia, and German, you name it, all around from every military around the world. So I think we got plenty of. I actually
I got a PM a couple months ago from a guy who, because I put in a thing I was saying I was looking for books on submarine tactics, and so I got contacted by a guy who works on submarines.
Right, cool.
Questions like
the pilot who was on the 24-hour live stream sent us a very nice, very large booklet on
all the HUD stuff. Yeah, which is actually really useful, right? So yeah, we got a massive research from I think maybe it was Dane, I believe was his, yeah. So thank you, Dane. That was really cool.
Next one up, man.
Oh, it sounds like there are actually still some addresses available. If people are trying to get some, they're still selling. Rush to get the Idris if you want one right now. Let's see. Some folks are wondering about actors in Squadron 42. Have we talked to anybody yet?
Wait for the Squadron 42 section, which is coming up here, so we can answer it during the Squadron 42 section.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about Squadron 42 a little bit later, guys. If you want to know some of those questions. Chat went crazy because of the Idrises. I'm gonna take a moment to catch up. One person is wondering about earning UEC during the dogfighting. Is that something we're talking about?
Yeah, no. So I mean, a part of our plan with the dogfighting is to we're going to allow you to fight and sort of earn, I guess, test credits would be the way to do it, and you can buy different things with the test credits, and we're going to also allow you to have so many test credits to try stuff out. And the issue, test credits they'll go away when the proper game gets there, but it'll allow people to sort of play and try different stuff and do that during the dogfight. So we haven't figured out the full mechanics, but the kind of idea is that like if you get into matches and you win, you would earn some sort of test UEC. And maybe you'd also just earn some test UEC by actually participating in the dogfighting. Because really, I mean, the whole point of doing the dogfighting section is to do a whole bunch of stuff, which is balance the ships, see what works, what isn't working, figure out how the back end server load is, which is actually kind of like our biggest concern, which is one of the reasons why, like I was mentioning earlier, that I was thinking about taking a bit longer on it, because our biggest thing is how to make the experience for everyone around the world work really well. So, we're now at a level, we announced that we're going to invest more money into infrastructure. So even in the dogfighting alpha, we're going to spin up servers around in Europe, in the US, and say Australasia or somewhere. And that was something that we weren't originally going to do. I mean, yes, we were going to do it for the final game, but in the early stages when we're testing, that's obviously expands because you don't have the game live and all the rest of the stuff. But because we've had such great support, we can do that now. But of course, we've got to make sure that we have the system that deploys, that spins up the servers automatically. We're looking at Google Compute. I mean, if I had we have the Austin section later on, so if Jason is in that one, Ben, that would be good. We could probably talk about some of these sort of back-end MMO style stuff. So our goal is to sort of try and make that experience really good rather than have it sort of not so good in the alpha, almost like we're using the alpha to test the load balancing and the stuff for all the multiplayer stuff. So yeah, that's thanks that we've got enough resources from you guys to be able to do that. But it's I think going to make a better game. Am I getting the signal of 5 minutes or something? Okay.
What's happening in 5 minutes?
Wondering if you'd be able to
Upgrade ships during the dogfighting module beyond just swapping weapons around. Will we see different ship systems upgradable?
Yeah, that's also part of the goal. I mean, again, that's another one of the asset issues. So our goal with the dogfighting is we're going to deliver sort of the core base, and then we're going to constantly be adding extra things like, okay, here's some new avionics packages, here's some new weapons packages. Okay, now you have 2 different batteries you could get instead of 1, or here's an extra, here's the overclocker cooler version that like keeps your heat down, because balancing like your sort of heat and energy in your ship is actually going to be a bit of a mini game, because everything generates heat, most stuff pull energy, and so I think not too long ago I think we had our settings slightly off, and you fired the Gatling gun, and like it was done, right? Your energy was drained.
Yeah, all your battery power was gone.
Battery power is gone. So yeah, there'll be a lot of that. And so the point is, as we go through the test, we're going to sort of release more and more of these components, because in the actual final game, these are things that you would buy as you would go around from planet to planet, and you basically, the idea is you get to customize or set up your ship for your particular playstyle. So that will, and that's part of the dogfighting test, is to see how all that works, balance it, and even we're going to do some of our playing here, but obviously when there's a couple 100,000 of you out there playing it, that's that's the best play test and feedback and focus group you can ever get.
People ask about new T-shirts. New T-shirts in the work. I guess that's especially for Sandy.
Yeah, I think we have Sandy coming up here a little later on today, don't we?
Hoodies. They're hoodie samples. Look at that.
Has Drake on the front, right?
Yeah, it's Drake on the front. They just came in yesterday, so I still have to check the quality on them and everything. Wash them, wear them, do all of that stuff. Try them on all the guys.
I used that one as a blanket last night.
Oh, thank you, Travis.
So definitely wash them.
But yes, new T-shirt designs. We'll get onto that. I mean, it's cold for most of the world right now, so.
All right, chat roll just went crazy again. I guess they're excited about hoodies. Let's see. Wondering how player-to-player communications are going to work in flight.
Well, I think that would be another good one to have Jason here. I mean, we've got a fair note. I should have had Jason on your side. I think we're going to be doing a combination, so we'll definitely have sort of a chat channel IM stuff that you'll be able to do, and it will tie into the organization stuff that we're rolling out. I believe we're rolling out an early test at the very end of this year, and for everybody at the beginning in the new year. And it will be tied, so you'll have all your different channels tied into that. We'll probably have some level of voice, I think. Maybe that will be just tied into your organization, so you don't have to necessarily, or you can mute other people, so you don't have to have people say all sorts of obnoxious stuff to you. There we are. Look, you have Jason here. Hey, we had a question, Jason, about in-game chat. So I was saying that we were going to have your general IM chat channels to be tied to the organizations. We have voice over IP. Not quite sure how we're going to. Maybe that's only tied to your friends. Maybe you can have it wide, but then you can turn it off if you don't want to listen to someone being obnoxious. What other kind of communication stuff are we talking about?
We're also talking about having basically using an XMPP-based backend, which is a chat technology used by like Jabber, and even Google uses it for some of the Google Talk stuff. So you could have the chat work on the website and in-game, and even maybe on a separate client outside of the game using your game account, of course.
Cool. So you could even be in chat playing the game, and someone else isn't on the game but in the website, tied into your organization. You see your chat chatting back.
Yeah. Or maybe they're on their mobile phone and you're in the organization chat and you say, we're about to have a big battle. If you could get on and help, come on now. And somebody might see it on their phone and say, okay, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 15 minutes.
We have our mission of destroying everyone's productivity at work.
Yeah.
Well, while we have Jason here, we've had a lot of questions about folks wondering how Oculus Rift, Track IR, HUD-S, etc. support is going. Want to talk about some of the stuff you've been looking at?
We haven't had a chance to start the Track IR support yet, but we do have some devices here already at both offices to try out and test. The Oculus Rift support we have working. We've tested it out in the hangar. Now with our we've unified the first-person cameras recently, so that now when you're like in a vehicle seat, you can look around with the Rift as you're still in the seat, and yet still pilot and control the ship separately from your looking. There are still some issues with the aspect ratio and latency, specifically like when you turn your head, how fast that the input from the motion sensors read your head movement. It goes to the computer, the game engine, and then it's rendered in the frame, gets to the display on the Rift. We still have some issues where, probably in the engine, there's a latency there, so that you can kind of see a delay if you turn your head real quickly, which I think will probably be important in like dogfights and space battles. So we got an Oculus latency tester that we haven't had a chance to use it yet to measure that and work on it.
Yeah, and by the way, that was actually one thing that Jason mentioned, the unified first-person look, which we didn't mention in Dogfight, but that online is actually going to be pretty cool because it's slightly different than the way CryEngine works, but it allows you to sort of have a unified look between outside and inside. And also, we sort of have a pretty cool system that we haven't shown off yet that hopefully I can show off in the near future that will allow sort of dynamic focus for your sort of view and avatar as you're moving around, and also like the impact of like G-forces and impacts on your ship. So like as you're flying around and you get hit, I mean, so if you ever see anyone's like you see people do a point of view and an artist does a cool one and you get jolted around as you're flying around, well, the system that we're building procedurally will handle that. So like if there's an explosion near your ship and there's an impulse on your ship, you'll go there and like you'll actually get jolted around and your character will have that reaction in the seat and you'll sort of see it in the movement, and hopefully it will make the feeling in the cockpit much more immersive rather than the typical one, which tends to be pretty like fixed and you're rigid versus you're, in real life you would be like a separate body kind of attached to the ship you're in, but if there was forces you would have some level of independent movement. So we're trying to simulate that, and the system's going to be pretty cool. So we haven't shown that off yet, but I think people will really dig that. Are we good? Does this mean it's 12?
There were requests to read the $32 million letter saying you didn't post it.
Well, I'm in here, right? Thank you, everybody. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
We can't write letters fast enough. We like seriously consider maybe we should just stop raising money for a day so we can catch up. No, it's pretty awesome. I mean, like I said, I mean the money that we're raising basically is just ensuring that this is going to be the best damn space sim ever, because we already have more funds today than any other space sim has ever had in the history of space sims. And obviously, we're going to get new people coming in over the next year or so. So, we're getting into the range where, we were competing with big AAA projects just because we're super lean and we don't have any big corporate overhead and all the other things that a bigger company has. But now we're getting into the range where we're like kind of at the sort of budget range where we can really it doesn't matter. I mean, we can compete with anyone. And because we've got you guys and this is an ongoing process and we're going to be rolling out over time, I just, sure, there's going to be a few times where, something doesn't work, but this isn't like putting on a disc and that's it. It's like we're constantly fixing and patching it, and we just want to make the best game ever. Everyone here working here basically is doing this because they love this genre and they love what they're doing. And so we're gonna get there, and we have the support and the resources now to do it. So I'm pretty confident this is gonna be something epic. Maybe not every single second of the day, but by the time we get there and you sit back and say, okay, that's it. That's kind of like the base level of what Starcitizen is going to be. I'm hoping it's going to be something that everybody here, myself, and all you guys out there being part of it will be proud of proud of being part of, because I think it's something completely unique and completely special in the industry, and I'm just always blown away by the enthusiasm and the support. And I guess couldn't have really done this sooner, but it's the most fun I've had ever making a game, and it's really invigorating to have everyone's support out there for it. So anyway, that's my rambling letter for you, and I guess now we have the video, right? That I'm probably late on. We're late on running. Yep. Rolling.
Control, do you read me? Commander Roberts, Station Command, Boundary 42, come in.
The thing that excites me most about Squadron 42 is the chance to create a cinematic and immersive playing experience that hasn't been seen before.
A brand new game right from the start.
There's a lot of people out there, chomping at the bit, and it's going to be, it's going to be a huge game.
It's really a chance with the technology going PC only to really deliver something spectacular.
When Chris came to me originally, he said that the universe of video games and the technology and software had caught up with his desire to make character-driven games.
There's a subtlety of movies, there's an emotion that you try to get across in moments and characters that I think I didn't appreciate until I was really sort of immersing myself making films. And so I really want to try and bring a lot of that back into specifically Squadron 42.
Sort of my first task when I came on board was, all the kind of basic framework for what would go on to become the sort of beginning of the lore.
The first big challenge has been nailing the big story outline.
To create a strong framework for the story for Squadron 42 that's going to drive the game along, and also working with all the various offices that are around the world.
We have to write character work and relationships for people over whom we have no control at all, which is a fascinating challenge.
It's tough because you need to have a story that can shift and change based on how the player plays it.
So I think that in previous incarnations of games, a lot of the branches had to do with whether you won or lost a battle. Now they have to do with how you treat a wingman, or what kind of moral decision you make in a particular situation.
The great thing about being able to sit in a room with the guys from Manchester and Chris and talk about the story is we get to lock it down. We get to kind of look at this and go, all right, here's what we're working with. Let's build off that.
Yeah. Made some good progress this week. I think we've pretty much nailed it now.
Now we know what the scope of the game is. We'll be pulling a lot of people, I think, to make it happen. I've known Chris and Aaron since we were little kids, sort of 4 or 5. We pretty much started school together, stealing Chris's early attempts to try and pass my exams.
I've known Chris and Aaron since the age of 4.
Worked on his first games.
Just a tight-knit group of friends, and it's just going to be so much fun.
Working with my buddies again.
I knew Chris in a different life when he ran Ascendant Pictures, which was his film company, and I was his president of production.
The first game I worked on was Striker's Run, which was one of Chris's back in '85.
Games such as Privateer 2 The Darkening,
Privateer 2,
Starlancer.
Then it was Starlancer. Then I had a fun 3 years on Mace Griffin Bounty Hunter.
I'm working for Warner Brothers on Lego, on various Lego titles, Lego Star Wars.
And with Chris's company, we did Outlander, and we did Lucky Number 11, and we did Lord of War. And when this came together, he asked me to join the Squadron 42 team as a consultant to help lock a story down, because he wants a more cinematic, more character-driven story than is common in games.
It's not something you do very often, and starting a new company up as well to do the game.
Got the call from Nick, saying it's a go. Then I spoke to Aaron, and he said, "What do you think?" I was like, "I'm in."
It was a weekend. Aaron rang me, and I had the family round, so I had to kind of drop a Sunday dinner to take the call.
And it was only when they were leaving, driving back to the airport, they happened to mention the idea of us doing the game.
Time for a new challenge. Yeah, it doesn't come any bigger than this, does it?
An opportunity we just couldn't turn down.
I'm actually really excited to be working very closely with the community to basically make something for the people who can be playing the game, rather than just developing something and then putting something out there under the sort of constraints of working for a publisher. And in terms of the way we're doing it now, we get to basically, work directly with people. We spend a lot of time on the forums, understanding what people want and what they feel, and basically where they want to go. And obviously we have a very clear direction we want to take it, but also it's great to also get that feedback from other people as well.
Something that can be extra special given the sort of support from the community.
We are making a game for the people.
I think that this company has completely reinvented the model of how to make media, frankly. I think that it's important to see opportunity, that the world is there to be reinvented.
We're working very hard to make sure that the story and the immersion and what we bring on Squadron 42 is going to really create a fantastic introduction to Starcitizen.
So I'm really kind of looking forward to advancing that level of sort of cinematic engagement that I did with Wing Commander with Squadron 42, and so as far as I'm concerned, Squadron 42 is going to be what I would be making a next-gen Wing Commander of, all by itself. So it should be just by itself as good as any $60 retail AAA console game, and then you're going to have all the Starcitizen Persistent Universe on top of it. So and I won't be satisfied with anything short of that.
Because it's so important that this Squadron 42 will lead the players into the Persistent Universe, and we want to make sure that that first glimpse of the universe absolutely blows people away.
Are we going to that camera?
Travis, are you checking the chat roll?
Are we talking stage right or camera right?
Travis, are you checking the chat roll?
We're going to this camera.
Twitch chat roll? No, are you?
That's not camera right, is it?
Yeah, I'm watching to make sure we're
Yeah, camera's pointing this way.
No, because that's stage. Right. Camera is always reversed, so that people can go. You go to the right or left of the camera, the camera pointing you.
Facing you.
So that would be stage right.
Right.
Or whatever you want to say.
Well,
just
I'm
to let
on
you know,
chat roll,
Trav.
so I'm just kind of answering here and there.
They're all reminding you that you're live.
Okay.
We are live?
As we discussed the virtues of
it's giving
stage right versus camera right.
Stage right was camera right, which is
very different.
Yes, exactly. If you've ever done film or TV,
Dave Haddock knows that. He's just having a brain fart.
No, it wasn't. Well, it wasn't really so much Dave. It was Travis. Okay, so that was the Squadron 42 video, which we did show on Friday. We were actually planning to debut it today, but you guys went and hit the 29 million thing on Friday, and we thought it would be appropriate because of one of the milestones for Squadron 42. But now's an opportunity to ask Dave and I some Squadron.
Oh, wait,
you can't, or you cannot see me. What's my Travis? Can you see me or not? What's happening?
Well, I don't know. Somebody's stage left got confused.
No, I mean you're perfectly.
I'm in the shot. I'm not in the shot.
You are now, but it looks very weird.
Why?
It looks like you're leaning into Dave.
Looks like I'm leaning into
Well,
Dave. How about
that's what
that?
the shot looks like.
Yeah. Let's maybe move this a little bit.
Yeah, frame it better then. Oh, now we're delayed. Hang on, let's see. Where we are.
Hey,
Okay, is that
whoa.
better?
Look at that.
Okay, so so now's an opportunity for people to ask questions about Squadron 42, which we can't give you too many plot spoilers, but we're pretty excited by it actually.
Oh my God, I
So
just realized Dave's T-shirt.
yeah, Kid Crimson's.
Representing.
Yeah, it's a bootleg T-shirt there, Sandy. You may want to have words with him about
Right.
it.
Yeah, Dave, where's your license?
Right.
For that?
Yeah. So Ben, do you want to hit us?
Yeah, guys, let's have some Squadron 42 questions. The one we're hearing over and over right now is actors. Do we have any voice actors lined up?
Do we have any voice actors?
So we. The process usually involves finishing the script and then going to the actors. So I've had some informal discussions with some people, but until we have a final script, which we're in the process of writing, we won't have any. And then I'm not sure when we'll announce them. We'll probably announce who the people are next year. But it's going to be we have the resources to do some pretty cool stuff. And one of the fun things, because we're doing sort of performance capture and we can control what days we have people on, we can actually have some really great actors, and it's eminently affordable for us. So yeah, there's going to be some really good people, and there'll be some people that people will be happy with. But no, I can't announce anything right now.
We have people asking how long of a game is Squadron 42 going to be? Apparently, there's a rumor going around that it's going to be the tutorial for Starcitizen. Set that rumor to rest right now.
Well, I mean, in some ways, yeah. I mean, if you want to think a 15-hour experience is your tutorial for Starcitizen, sure. I mean, it's a great way to get into the universe. It's a great way to do dogfighting and learn the stuff and learn a lot of stuff in the systems. But it's not, like tutorial would be the wrong way to describe it. It's going to be, the campaign itself is going to be as big as any of the Wing Commander ones, even the biggest one, and it's probably going to be a little bigger. I mean, we're doing a lot of stuff that's very different. I mean, right now, like, how many missions are we at, I think?
50, or at least 50, or maybe more, 70.
Yeah, so there you go.
It's a ton.
Between 50 and 70, and they're not, and a lot of the missions aren't simple like, say, a Wing Commander mission. They're multi-stage, so you can take off, do something, land, do something, take off again, do something. So they are things that in a past Wing Commander would have been broken into multiple missions. So yeah, it's a big story. I mean, this would be a $200 million big ass Hollywood film.
Yeah, and I think the tutorial sort of insinuates that it's just, this is how you fly. This is a narrative experience, and it's a lot of cool personalities you get to interact with, some huge epic set pieces you get to be a part of, and so yeah, it's its own experience.
Yeah, and in fact, we've sort of made a conscious decision that, because it's a big thing that a lot of Foundry 42, my brother and Phil and Nick and those guys, that even though it teaches you, we're not like doing one of those typical, okay, go to the firing range, all right, fly around and shoot a drone.
Right.
So you basically learn in the story, you learn in the action.
But still organically. Yeah.
Totally organically, right? So yeah, it leads you through how to use and fly the stuff, but not in a boring way.
Right.
So like as narrative is unfolding, which I think is going to be pretty cool.
Net would like to know if there are going to be first-person shooter missions in Squadron 42, or if it's all going to be space combat.
No, there's definitely going to be on the ground first-person stuff. There'll be boarding aspects. I think there's definitely going to be some on the ground stuff as well as the flight stuff. I mean, that's the beauty of what we're building, because we have the ability to go beyond the cockpit. We can sort of have a lot more variety. So it can really be like a big Hollywood action movie, other than with a lot of flying around and shooting stuff up in space.
Right.
Question specifically for Dave.
Are we going to see Kid Crimson in Squadron 42?
I doubt it. I feel like
a very negative experience for Kid Crimson to be hanging around military people.
Behind enemy lines.
Yeah, it'll be a pretty short-lived cameo. No, I think we're kind of saving Kid Crimson for more of the persistent universes. As actually, I think there's a discussion going on in my Ask a Dev thread about Tanya Oriel and Kid Crimson specifically in the persistent universe, and will players kill them? So yeah, I think they're more relegated for the persistent universe rather than Squadron 42.
Yeah, and they'll be in the persistent universe, and we're thinking about doing some other stuff where maybe Kid Crimson and Tanya Oriel and a few other characters get their own sort of narrative and stories, but that's separate from Squadron 42.
And in reverse, they're
Wondering if we're going to see characters from Squadron 42 transition over to the persistent universe of Star Citizen.
Well,
Potentially some, but it's a pretty epic campaign, right? So not necessarily everyone's making it home.
That's true. But we're discussing kind of ways for it to, I guess the sort of bigger question there is like the crossover from the single player into the persistent universe, and we're discussing some options of ways for your experience in Squadron 42 to affect your life in the persistent universe.
So like if you have a wingman and you guys get, strike up a relationship, and even if that wingman dies, but he says, look up my family on this planet because I'll give you a deal on.
Right.
They
My
make the
cousin
best.
owns a ship repair shop, best in the universe. He'll give you a discount.
And you take that, and you would get a bonus if you develop that relationship in Squadron 42. That if you hadn't, you just wouldn't get necessarily the same bonus. Not that you wouldn't get the thing, but you wouldn't get necessarily the same bonus.
Folks wondering if they will be able to keep a ship at the end of Squadron 42.
Not particularly. I mean, the idea is the end of Squadron 42, you muster out, and then the ships that you have now, your starting ship is kind of what your ship is. I mean, you're in the military. I mean, like if you retire from the Air Force, they don't say, okay, take your F-16 with you.
You drive a tank.
Yeah, take the tank home.
Go on, buddy.
Park it yourself. So no. I mean, basically, it's your reputation. You're going to take the friendships that you would make. Some of that would pay off, but your starting base in Starcitizen is really sort of kind of like your starting ship, whether it's the Aurora or
your citizenship.
And your citizenship. So if you play Squadron 42, you'll have a different social standing than maybe if you didn't complete it.
Right.
Sounds good. A lot of questions about what'll carry over at the end. One user wonders if we will get paid more if we muster out with higher rank. Well, I guess a larger retirement benefit or what?
I think the way we've structured it is that you sort of have to go through the campaign. You can muster out early, or you go through the campaign. So you're not, there's a certain point in the story where you just can't basically.
Can't quit.
You can't quit, right? You can't go AWOL.
Yeah.
So pretty much if you get to the end, everyone will be sort of comparatively at the same sort of level, more or less. So I'm not sure that would count as much in terms of sort of your ending bonus. I mean, we may have some level of bonus if you complete the story, then you may have some extra starting credits versus someone that just opts out of flight school and wants to just go to the Starcitizen universe.
Right.
But we haven't actually made a decision on that, but that would be one of the potential things.
All right. Let's see. What about Squadron 42 players that don't want citizenship? Will you be able to opt out of that if you're planning to become a pirate?
Sure. I mean, there's no issues, I think, on that level. I mean, I don't know whether we would have the thing where you would have to show up to claim your citizenship. So if you just don't show up, you don't get it.
Or there's like a form you got to fill out as you muster out or something.
Yeah. So that won't be an issue to handle. So
don't worry, pirates. What's your questions about?
That's a great way to reject the UEE, become a citizen, and then become a pirate.
Yeah.
People are wondering about the dialogue system. Is it going to be like Mass Effect? How are we going to interact with characters?
So it's not going to be like Mass Effect in terms of a wheel selection. We're really trying to do something that's as immersive as possible. So, I think I've talked about this before, but it's based on kind of like interaction, first-person interaction, catching someone's eye, sort of like you would in real life. Like in real life, if you look at someone, they look like they've just looked at me, and that's like, hey, you want to say something, right?
Right.
That's how you engage people. So we're going to have a system where your previous actions and also your demeanor and whether you're looking someone in the eye or not, or paying attention to them, will affect how they're responding to you. And then you sort of have the option where you basically, maybe kind of a little similar to Wing 3 and Wing 4, where you sort of can hear your inner thoughts, like, hey, Dave looks like a good guy. Maybe I'll shoot the shit with him, or I can't be arsed talking to Dave because he's boring. I wouldn't actually say those two things, but that's my inner thought. And then based on what I would choose, based on hearing sort of my thought in my head, I would have a response to him, and then my response would affect how he would, and it would sort of go from there. So it would be a combination of sort of, mostly binary choices interspersed with sort of eye contact and body mannerisms that will affect your relationship with the person you're talking to.
Well, and one of the things you had said early on was, as a divergence from the Mass Effect system was, conversations are dynamic, and they start and they finish. They don't have the sort of thing in Mass Effect where you can kind of go back and re-click every option, and because that doesn't really feel like you're interacting, you're just sort of checking boxes. So we're actively trying to kind of stay away from that. So it feels like, if you insult somebody, you don't get to go back. It doesn't reset and let you ask them a different question. They get annoyed and they walk away from you, type of thing. So they're more. It gives you more consequences to how you handle your conversations rather than just, I'm going to see every single possible iteration of what this person has.
No, I agree. I mean, that's my problem with Mass Effect is that it took me out of the game because I would literally do every question to make sure I didn't miss something.
Right.
And half the stuff really didn't mean anything to the game anyway. So no, this is more, I would say, like you're going down a river and like the rapids go left or right, and you've got to make that choice and you can't go back up it. But there'll always be opportunities later on to maybe get a relationship back to a better place than it was before. But it should be like real life. I mean, if you just call someone a dick to their face, you got to do a bit of work to come back from that.
Right.
User wondering if we'll be introduced to all the systems in Squadron 42, salvage, repair, combat, the stuff we're going to see in the universe.
Yeah, I mean that's part of our goal, right? Our goal is sort of take you through Squadron 42 and learn how to use your ship systems, learn how to patch yourself up after a battle, and I mean there's that's kind of one of that's why maybe people think, oh, it's a tutorial. It's not really a tutorial, but you will go through most of the game systems in the story setting, which will hopefully prepare you for the persistent universe.
All right. User wondering how the orchestral session is going, and we're actually going to have some more on that a little bit later.
Yeah, that's a good lead-in. Well, I mean, not just yet, but in 5 minutes we're going to play a new video, so you'll be happy with that. And then I think we're going to have Martin around to answer some questions. I don't know whether we'll have Pedro too, because he's in Portugal. Are we having Pedro too? Great, brilliant. So we're going to have both Martin and Pedro, who is our composer, to answer questions very shortly in about 5 minutes. So 5 more minutes of Squadron 42 questions. Make Dave feel loved.
With the co-op campaign going, what will we be able to do there, basically?
I mean, the concept of the co-op campaign is that you basically can drop in and take over some of the wingmen when you're in the battles. So essentially, flying the missions, instead of it being wingman X, it can be Dave. Me and Dave flying the mission together.
I always kind of equate it to those scenes in The Matrix where the Agent Smith teleports into the person's body, sort of like that type of thing. Like the NPCs are established, but it's just your friend is playing as them.
And not necessarily on the conversation side, right? On the ship, it's more in the action part. They can take over controlling them for the action.
Right.
And then during the other thing, I don't think we've decided quite what we do. Maybe you would just passively hang out and watch. Well, like maybe a third person view of what's happening. While your friend plays a character, so you can see him talking or whatever.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But yeah, that's kind of the plan.
Wondering if there will be different difficulties in Squadron 42, easy, medium, hard, or if it's just going to be the Squadron 42 experience.
That's actually a good question. I don't know if we've made a decision on that yet. I mean, default, you would probably think, there'd be easy, medium, and hard. Can't remember if I even had that in Wing Commander. It's been so long ago. Maybe I did. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, that's actually fairly simple for us to adjust because it's the AI is going to. I mean, ultimately, if we had the AI on made it like the hard AI, then it would be hard for most people to beat it. So we may very well do that. I haven't sort of made the choice yet, although there is something to be said for not making anything too easy. So you actually have to achieve your victory. So we'll probably maybe have some modes, but nothing will be
static,
too easy.
Vortex would like to know about penalties for
not doing Squadron 42 versus benefit when you're starting out in the universe. is it going to be something everybody wants to do, or is it entirely optional? What?
Entirely optional, but I think you would have to earn your citizenship a different way if you wanted citizenship. I think you would, you would obviously miss out on learning some of the way to use things or ship systems, but you can probably figure that out yourself anyway. I think that you'll miss some potential connections later on. So you'll make some connections in Squadron 42 that could help you in the persistent universe. Go look up this person, they'll give you some jobs, or go over here, they'll give you, they'll tweak your laser guns to plus, to be more effective, but they only do it for XVets or whatever it would be. But you won't be handicapped by not playing Squadron 42. It should be completely elective. It's just you'll have different routes in the persistent universe to achieve the same ultimate status that you would have done by playing Squadron 42. But Squadron 42 is going to be fun. I mean, the way I view it is it absolutely could be a standalone, full price AAA game, just Squadron 42, and then you've got the persistent universe added onto it.
Wondering about character customization in Squadron 42. Are you going to create your character at the start of the campaign, or is everybody going to be the same square jawed?
No, you got to create your character. We've actually got a really cool way to do it that's completely in fiction. It will work, and it'll also pay off later in the persistent universe if you want to change. So I don't necessarily want to reveal too much of it, but anyway, I'm quite happy with it. I feel like it's completely in fiction. You can go completely buy it, and it will be cool. So you can be a man or a woman. You can choose how you want.
I have a lot of folks wondering when we're going to see our female character.
We are actively working on that. So we have a 3D female character, although we're now shifting our technology to full body scanning. So we're doing facial and full body. I mean, we hit a stretch goal. I guess it was quite a while ago. It's amazing just how quickly stuff has gone. Where we're doing facial scanning, but we're also going to be doing full body scanning. And so we're shifting to that now to sort of up the level of fidelity on the characters and the faces. So like the face that you've seen so far in our stuff is that's not like, that's a 3 compared to what we're going to be doing. We may not show the current modeled female because we're going to actually do a proper body scan for a female, which is up and coming actually. I think we're going to scan by the end of this year. So that should be all pretty good. But yeah, we're definitely focused on having our female and as well as the base male for people in the game.
Let's see. One user wants to make sure that we know he'd like to keep his sidearm after Squadron 42. Let's see. Friendly fire. Will there be friendly fire in Squadron 42?
That's a good question. I'm kind of inclined to say yes. Because friendly fire is always fun. I think Maniac always used to generate a lot of friendly fire back in the original Wing Commander. No, I would say probably yes.
So I think your wingman.
Carefully if you're doing the co-op mode. Let's see. Is there going to be a medal on ranking system?
So what was that, Ben? A medal ranking system, you said?
Medal ranks.
Like the original Wing Commander.
Yeah, no, we're definitely, I think, going to give you medals and awards. I mean, I would say sort of the Wing Commander as a model is the best. We're trying to like build it in such a way that, like, for instance, like some of the later Wing Commanders, because we filmed all the stuff, we would keep wingmen around for story points, but this one we're trying to make more flexible. So you could finish the story and without the original Wing Commander, you could finish with all the wingmen being dead, or you could finish with all the wingmen still living, and we're sort of more in that direction than we are in the Wing 3 or the Wing 4 direction.
Sounds good. I'm personally looking forward to that. Number of flyable ships in Squadron 42. Has there been a decision yet, can we say, or to come?
I don't think we've figured how many. What have you got so far on the outline?
1, 2, at least 6 in some capacity or another.
There are at least 6 in some capacity or another.
Yeah.
Potentially more.
Yeah.
So fighters, bombers, probably transport.
Ops, like special ops.
Special ops one. So.
Yeah. Cap ships.
Cap ship.
I'd like to know if all the dialogue in the game will be voiced.
Yeah, in Squadron 42, everything's going to be voice.
And most of it, most of the
performance hero capture too. So
think if you've seen Rise,
think that level or better.
Question for I guess both Dave and Chris. Fiction influences for you in planning the story for Squadron 42. What inspires you?
I actually watched a lot of World War II movies.
World War II. I mean, we were also going. I mean, say Gladiator.
Right, that's come up a lot.
Is a big inspiration because we're taking the lead from sort of the Roman Empire, even though we're way in the future. So the Ninth Legion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little element of Gladiator, the Ninth Legion, World War II stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I actually reread
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now.
So.
I reread Generation Kill last week as part of the preparation for it, just because of like the personal dynamics between the guys. Firefly, of course. Cowboy Bebop. Always good ones to go back to.
Yeah. Although I would say Firefly and Cowboy Bebop are more the persistent universe.
Yeah. But they're just always fun.
But they're always fun. Yeah, but I think we're trying for something pretty epic in the story. So
yeah,
I'm actually, I think people are gonna like it. That's my opinion. So we start really big, and then we kind of go from there. So.
Yeah.
Flies with Scissors would like to know if there's going to be humor in Squadron 42.
Yeah, I mean, I think even even serious films, the best ones work well with Aliens is a great example, right? That's a pretty intense movie, but it has great moments of humor, mostly involving Bill Paxton.
I think Hudson is one of the best characters in that movie because he's really funny.
Yeah. Game over, man. Game over.
One user concerned that all the voices might be British. Could you clarify that one?
No, only the
guys will be British. No, just no. It's we're gonna it's gonna basically get cast like you would a big movie. So potentially there could be some British actors. There'll also be American actors. It should actually feel. Like that. One of the things with the Wing Commanders was that I deliberately tried to make it multicultural because it was the future. So you figured that all the different nations and races that we have now would basically all be fighting together for the Confederation, and that's no different, I think, than the UAE. It's definitely going to be multicultural, and in fact, I would guess that the future will be much more of a melting pot than it is even today, because as time goes on, who's going to care what country you were from on Earth? I mean, you have all these different planets, and so
planetary identification more than
So I think you'll be kind of like you'll be sort of everybody would be essentially some level of mixed, right? It's like now in America you probably go back to people's genealogy and they're a little bit of Irish, a little bit of American Indian, and they're a little bit of this, or a little bit of that. If you actually went all the way into it, and I think in the future you're gonna have more of that because that's just the nature of the expansion and the beast. So we're gonna sort of do that. So it won't all be English accents. It is orchestral time. Okay, we have a new video for you, and I think on the other side we're gonna have Martin and Pedro for you guys to talk to. So let's roll it. Nice talking to you guys. I'll be talking to you pretty soon on the other side.